In the growing field of psychedelic research, psilocybin, or what makes magic mushrooms magic, is making big waves.
But it's not just scientists who are excited. I talked to two mothers who say that microdosing magic mushrooms has been a game changer in their daily lives.
These are dried magic mushrooms.
That's a magic mushroom.
This is it.
Tracy T is part of a growing trend of mothers turning to microdosing magic mushrooms to find relief from both the big and little stresses of daily life.
You know, I get really frustrated when people say to me, oh, well, like, mushrooms are, the mommy's new little helper. That is not what microdosing is. Microdosing is mommy is present and aware and showing up, maybe for the first time ever.
In Colorado, where Tracy lives, using mushrooms just became legal in July.
How do you microdose?
I actually really find that I like to drink my microdose.
So you just chew it up and that's it?
Cheers.
And that's it?
That's it.
In Oregon, where magic mushrooms have been legal since 2020, Kate Ingram, a counselor and mother of two, has been microdosing for the past few months.
I'm not a recreational drug user. I drink some wine. Microdosing is taking an infinitely small amount of the mushroom at a teeny tiny microdose. So there isn't any hallucinogenic effect. There isn't any high.
So why mushrooms?
Because I was hearing amazing stories about people's lives being changed, people's illnesses or their difficulties with anxiety being changed.
Both Kate and Tracy say microdosing gives them a sense of clarity and calm.
I often describe microdosing as something that frays or like calms the frayed edges around us. And as mothers, we have very, very frayed edges.
It's like, oh, that thing that really gets me kind of tense and stressed just isn't.
It's still against the law to use magic mushrooms in most of the country. Colorado and Oregon are currently the only states in the U.S. where it's legal to use magic mushrooms. Cities in 4 other states have decriminalized the drug at the local level. Magic mushrooms for healing are not new. Indigenous cultures have been using them and other psychedelics for thousands of years. But the modern science around psychedelics is fairly new. In 2018, the FDA calling psilocybin, the hallucinogenic compound in magic mushrooms, a breakthrough therapy for severe depression.
What do you think of the microdosing?
We know very little about microdosing. What I do say to people when they ask me, like, should I microdose? I say, well, I can't tell you that, but you should know that you're kind of experimenting on yourself.
Dr. Woolley is currently researching psilocybin at UC San Francisco. He tells us the studies using the compound for everything from addiction to anxiety have been promising, but all of those trials have used very large therapeutic doses. He thinks more research is still needed when it comes to microdosing.
I think that there are risks that we don't totally know, and me and other groups are really trying to understand those.
For some, psychedelics may trigger severe psychiatric episodes. Other risks include increased heart rate and blood pressure.
Do you think microdosing is dangerous?
I think it potentially could be, and healing is a complicated thing.
Tracy believes she has found healing, and she's now created an online community to destigmatize and promote the safe use of psychedelics called Moms on Mushrooms.
I don't think it's the only way, obviously. I think it is a way. It was a way for me. I think I'm a more empathetic mom.
Do you feel like it's helping you every day?
I do. And whether that's in my mind or that's in the mushroom or both, if it helps me be a better version of myself and still completely myself, it's all good.
All right. So, Dr. Jen, I'm really curious your thoughts on all this.
Well, first of all, I'm so glad that you covered this, and I thought the piece was excellent, and I know you've been fascinated by this for a while. It's a very hot topic in the field of psychiatry, and I think with anything that has a benefit, remember that you have to look at it with its pharmacologic respect, right? If it acts like a drug and produces a benefit, you have to ask what are the risks are. This is just a basic premise in pharmacology. And when you talk about the risks, as we said, there can be psychiatric effects. There's no data about its safety with breastfeeding. there are some issues that could be significant. It can raise heart rate. Obviously, there's the potential for abuse and addiction, as there is with any medication. So I don't think people should say, well, it's natural, it must be therefore safe. I think we should treat it with respect, understand that in certain doses, it may in fact have a real therapeutic role, and try not to be judgmental. That is the key.
That is the key.
Talk to your doctor about it.
100%.
And after watching this piece, I learned so much in such a short amount of time. What surprised you most?
I mean, I think Dr. Jen could speak to this as well. I was surprised at the body of scientific research that already exists around this and what they're finding. It's sort of the new frontier for psychiatry, and all of these doctors pouring into it. It really is interesting. It'll be curious to see what they come out of it.
Yeah, fascinating report, my friend.
Yep.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.